By day, there are 3 kids at camp.
But also by day, there are 3 podcasters at camp.
Creating a podcast that will change the world.
Or at least make you laugh and make you think for the next 20 minutes or so.
It's going to be epic! Hello, Camp Sababa, and welcome to the latest, greatest, no need to waitest podcast, where kids run the show that other kids can't wait to hear. I'm your host, Eli, and to my left...
I'm also your host, Ilana, and to my left...
is someone who is so excited for today.
Sarah, what's got you so pumped up?
I'm so glad you asked. Today is the most exciting day of camp. We're going to climb. We're going to swing. We're going to be up so high that all the other campers will look like ants. It's my cabin's day to climb the Migdal.
We'd better remind our listeners what a Migdal is.
Oh, right. In case you didn't know, the word Migdal is Hebrew for tower. The Migdal here is that giant climbing tower at the end of the athletic field.
But it's not just any climbing tower. It's a kind of obstacle course with bouldering handholds, hanging logs and a horizontal rope ladder, and a giant swing. And when you get to the end, you can climb the tower, and at the top, you can see the entire camp.
It really is pretty neat.
That sounds...
totally epic?
absolutely terrifying.
Oh, come on, Eli. You're gonna love it. We've all climbed to the top, and no one's ever gotten hurt climbing the Migdal.
It's okay. It's only his first year at Camp Sarah. Everyone gets a little scared before their first time. He just needs a gentle push.
Don't say push.
Take it from me. It's totally safe, and there's nothing to be spooked about. I could climb the Migdal blindfolded. I'd even carry up on my back if I could. What's got you so scared?
What, besides the potential of falling and breaking every bone in my body?
I get it, but that can't happen. When you climb, you're safely attached to a rope by a harness. That rope is super strong. It's safer than safe.
Just as well, I think I'll stay on the ground, where if I fall, all I'd get is a little bruised knee.
I know what will help you feel better. If Sam, our roving reporter, got an interview with the Migdal staff captain. I happened to have met him earlier, and he told me an inspirational story about how Israel became a state.
What does that have to do with tower climbing?
Oh, you'll see. But there's a hint. It has something to do with trying something that you aren't 100% sure about.
I love it, Sarah. And while we wait for Sam to swing into action, let's hear from today's Kesher Kid, who will tell us about themselves and share 2 truths and a lie.
My name is Lexi, I'm 13 years old, and I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. Today's True Truths and a Lie are about Israel's independence. Number 1. Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, declared Israel's independence on May 14, 1948. Number 2. The United Nations Resolution 181 proposed the creation of both Jewish and Arab states. Number 3. David Ben-Gurion wrote his speech declaring Israel's independence without help from anyone else.
Thanks, Lexi. Listeners, make sure you follow closely and stick with us to the end so you'll find out which one is the lie.
So I have to think about the 2 truths and a lie and worry about climbing the Migdal. Oh, I'm getting a stomachache just thinking about it.
While Eli tries to calm his stomach down, let's hear from Sam, reporting live from the Migdal. I have a feeling Sam can help make sense of all this. Take it away, Sam.
This is Sam, your roving reporter, coming to you live from the athletic field. And here with me is Adam Kellerman, our extra awesome Migdal captain.
Yo Sam, yo listeners, yo everybody.
Wow, that Migdal is sure tall. I'm getting a little dizzy just looking up at it.
You're looking a bit pale there, Sam. Why don't you sit down and have some water?
Thanks, I'll be okay. I just don't know how you managed to convince so many kids to go all the way up there.
Well, I don't convince anyone to do anything. I just help kids find the strength they already have. See, I'm not just the Migdal captain, I'm also a Paralympian and a resilience and well-being coach.
Wow, a Paralympian? That's so cool. Can you explain more about that for our listeners who might not have heard of that?
Sure can. So the Paralympics runs alongside the Olympic Games, And so the Paralympics is different from the Olympics because everyone who competes in the Paralympics has a disability. The way I like to say it is they move through the world in different ways. And I competed in wheelchair tennis.
How did you get into wheelchair tennis? Do you mind sharing your story?
So I didn't use a wheelchair when I was a kid. I was running around on the soccer field until one day I was running up and I had a bad pain and went through some testing and got a test result of cancer. I went through a lot of challenges. At the end of it, walking was really challenging because they removed some of the bones in my hip. So I really loved playing sport, and when I couldn't play, I was pretty sad and depressed. One day my parents took me to try wheelchair sport, and the first time I sat in the wheelchair to play wheelchair tennis, it was like my soul came back to life and reignited a spark within me. And yeah, I loved playing from that day forward. I traveled around the world. I played in 25 different countries. I became number 1 in Australia and made it to number 8 in the world. So it was a really incredible experience.
What challenges did you face when you first started playing your sport? How did you overcome them?
Firstly, moving the wheelchair when you're holding a tennis racket is really difficult, let alone moving it around the tennis court really quickly. So it took me a long time to learn how to move and get to the ball. I had a coach who taught me. He was actually one of the best players in Australia, and he taught me everything he knew. It really helped a lot to have someone who believed in me, who had done it, and I learned a lot from him. One of my favorite sayings that I live by is that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise.
I read you walked hundreds of kilometers on the Kokoda Trail in Papua New Guinea without the use of a wheelchair to raise money for kids off the street. How did you decide to do something so challenging?
I decided to walk the Kokoda track after 7 years of using a wheelchair because someone challenged me to raise money for charity. And I've always looked for ways to give back in whatever way I can. And this was also a big challenge for me to stop using the wheelchair because even though I used a wheelchair, I could walk. I used a walking stick to walk, but it was very difficult and painful. But I had never spent any time training how to walk. So I didn't think I could walk that far, but when I had a good enough reason to, I decided to put my wheelchair away and start walking. And it took me a few months, but eventually I started doing long hikes. The first hike I did was in a place called the Blue Mountains, and it was a 7-kilometer hike. I did it with one of my best friends, and it was so beautiful. I hadn't been anywhere like that since I was a kid because I couldn't walk that far. And so it was really special. When we actually walked the track, it was 140 kilometers in 8 days. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It's besides how challenging it was and how painful it was so beautiful to walk through the jungle that is untouched.
Were you scared at all before you started the hike?
I was very scared before I started the hike because I had never done anything like that. I was very scared that I wouldn't be able to complete it. There's certain things in life you don't know whether you're going to be able to do it until you do it.
Did you have any moments where you wanted to give up?
Yes. I think on day 5 of 8, I wanted to give up because the pain was very, very intense and I didn't think I could make it through the next 4 days. It's so steep and slippery and you have to focus really very hard on every single step. Just one thing about walking, it's very simple philosophy that, you only have to think about taking one step at a time. So it becomes very meditative. So I'd say that's a good lesson for life is to focus on just one thing at a time, especially when things are difficult. Just do what's right in front of you. Don't worry about what's next or what's tomorrow or what's next week. Just focus on what you're doing right now.
So we've been learning about early Israeli leaders at camp, how brave they were, even though they couldn't know how things would turn out. I wonder how they coped with uncertainty.
David Ben-Gurion, the first Prime Minister of Israel, had a lot of big decisions to make in 1948. He knew that declaring independence would mean an immediate war, and while he had faith, he couldn't be sure a new country could win against so many enemies. And yet, he knew how long the Jewish people had been waiting for this chance. The people around him were divided, too. Some said, do it, some said, wait. But in the end, with the support of the other strong leaders, he went for it, and it all turned out okay. And independence for Israel was only declared on the 14th of May, 1948, which is very recent, despite many threats from the surrounding nations. And what that means is the state of Israel is founded on facing uncertainty and facing fear and being brave and courageous in the face of that. And so it's really important in this day and age, in this modern world that we're living in, is to be brave and courageous and to stand up for what we know is right.
Can you tell us the most joyful part of your job?
I love inspiring people. I love when something that I say may make a difference to someone else's life and give them the ability to think in a different way and to face their challenges and overcome and build resilience. So if I can help someone, then that makes it all worthwhile.
My last question. Can you tell us a joke?
So why are seagulls called seagulls? Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be called bagels.
Thanks so much, Adam, for talking to me and sharing your story with our listeners. Back to the studio. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Bye, everyone. It's been great chatting with you.
Thanks for that illuminating chat, Sam and Adam. Eli, does this make you feel any better about the Migdal?
I think so. Compared to what Ben Gurion and Adam had to face, the Migdal doesn't seem so tough. I'm not as afraid right now. But what if I freeze when I'm up there? Everyone will be looking at me, and no one will be able to get up
to bring me down, and the camp will have to call the fire department, and they'll send helicopters, and I'll be on the news, and my brother will see it, but worst of all, everyone will know.
Whoa. Slow down, buddy. None of that is going to happen, I promise you. One of the best parts of Migdal Day, besides all the prep work we do before anyone climbs the tower, is how we learn to support the other campers while they climb. It's important to make sure whoever's up there knows that we're all cheering them on.
In that spirit, maybe it would help Eli if we could get some other kids to share about times when they felt scared to do something too.
Good call, Sarah. Let's make that today's Kesher question.
Kesher, the Hebrew word for connection, and a fun way to connect with kids all over.
What's something you were scared to do at first, but then found the courage to overcome?
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm 14 years old and I'm from Chicago.
Hi, I'm Elisa. I'm 14 years old and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So in 7th grade, I decided I was going to join my school's basketball team, and all the other girls had played in 6th grade and I did not play in 6th grade, and I was very nervous that I wouldn't be good or they would judge me, or they had already made a group of them that played basketball and I would be on the outside. And my mom encouraged me to try it out and even just go to a few practices, and if it was horrible, she said you don't have to continue. But once I showed up to the first practice, I got into a groove and it was a really fun experience.
I joined a lacrosse team, but since my school is a really small Jewish school, it doesn't have a lacrosse team, so I had to go to my public middle school to join their team, and I just had and it was a new sport to me, so I had to introduce myself and figure out how to do that in a sort of environment that I wasn't used to, but I knew I wanted to because I wanted to play in high school, and it was actually a really fun and good experience.
Hi, my name is Poppy. I'm 8 years old and I live in London. I was scared to face a small spider, but I managed to do it. There was a small spider in the shutters and I nearly stepped on it, and I got a leaf and then put it on the fan.
My name is Eitan. I'm from Israel, from Modi'in. I'm 14 and a half. Actually afraid coming to camp because it's like a month for us, and it's a month without my parents and without phones, and I would miss them a lot, and I don't know what happened, but I just thought that it will make me grow, and it will be an experience that is worth going to. You need to have good friends, so I know that I can trust them, and they are like second family, so I can go with them and I will feel safe with them.
My name is Orm. I'm from Tel Aviv and I'm 14. I was also afraid to go to camp, and at the end I told myself that I would have a lot of fun with my friends, and I went for it. I want to add I trusted my friends, and I also trusted myself that I can make it good, and also being with my friends will also be very fun.
It sure seems like everyone has a story about overcoming some sort of fear. And it doesn't even have to be anything big, like I used to be afraid of bugs. It was so hard to do anything outside because bugs could be anywhere. But then I thought about how scary it must be for them to have a big human in their environment. and that I have nothing to worry about compared to them. And now we can coexist peacefully.
That's cool, Ilana. It's like a strategy to overcome fears. Like, how can you trick your brain into not being worried about stuff?
There are a lot of strategies out there like that, and our friend Fox is ready to share some of them in our next segment, Butzing Around. Hey Fox, what do you have for us today?
Kia ora, everyone. This is Fox, your Camp Sababa pal from New Zealand. Before I get into today's activity, I have some information to help you this week with 2 truths and a lie. The UN, a group of countries that work together, tried to make 2 countries in one place. One for Jewish people and one for Arab people. It was called the UN Resolution 151. But some people didn't like the plan. Sounds to me like quite a stressful job. So today, I have something my cousin taught me to help me feel less stressed or anxious in a moment. It helps to ground me when there's a lot of sensory stuff coming at me, and then I can feel calm and focus on being in the moment more than worrying. It's also really easy. All you have to do is just notice and name the following items in the space around you. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Don't rush through though, and practice doing this when you are already calm and happy so that you can do it when you're not. So, I can see a brown door, a kid's table, a fun poster of a rainbow, a red paint pot, and a brush covered in green glitter. I can feel the soft cushion I'm sitting on, my cotton t-shirt, my watch strap, and my toes pushing up against my trainers. I can hear kids outside laughing, the ticking of the clock on the wall, and a chair being moved in the next room. I can smell the paint and my shower gel. Mango. I can taste chocolate from my snack before I came in here. Hope it helps you all relax and enjoy. Bye for now.
Thanks, Fox. Phew, I'm starting to feel a little bit better already.
So, Eli, do you think you're ready to tackle the Migdal?
I don't know, but I'm ready to try. And I think I'm gonna think positive. Use that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. And trust my friends. So many people we've heard about today have taken a leap outside of their comfort zone. And if it worked for them, it'll work for me.
Hey, that's all we can ask. And we'll be with you the whole way.
And you know what is the best part? If you can make it all the way up to the top, you'll be able to share your experience with the other campers who might be afraid to climb the Migdal.
Yeah, I'll be able to help other kids at camp who need help too.
You'll be doing one of the greatest mitzvot, Eli, helping raise up others so they no longer need help. That's a big one. And all thanks to a big tower.
Well, thanks for braving through another podcast. And now, here are the Matzah Boys to play us off.
And don't forget to listen out for the answers to 2 truths and a lie.
Hi, it's Peter from the Matzah Boys. The song today is about overcoming challenges together. This is Bo B'Yachad. Bo B'Yachad, Bo B'Yachad, Yalla B'Yachad, Chagiga K'mo Ba'am. Bo B'Yachad, Yalla B'Yachad, Chagiga K'mo Ba'am. Remember traveling the world together. You turned to me and said, this is where I want to be forever. But we lost our way instead. Now I want to find my way back home. Journey there with you. Let the sun be our guide as we roam to a place we can be true. All that we've been through and all that we saw has just made us stronger than ever before. Bo B'Yachad, Bo B'Yachad, Yalla B'Yachad,
now, the moment that you've been waiting for, the answer to today's 2 truths and a lie. Number 1 is true. Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, declared Israel's independence on May 14th, 1948, despite the threat of the war. He and those early Israelis were really brave to go forward despite many challenges. And number 2, also true. United Nations Resolution 181 proposed the creation of both Jewish and Arab state, though, as we heard, the resolution wasn't something both sides approved of. But the lie was that Ben-Gurion declared independence all on his own. There were lots of others involved. They had to work together to help Israel thrive. Good stuff. There's always time to laugh, learn, and live with us, your favourite hosts on the Camp Sababa podcast. See ya!
If you love this episode, send your feedback to kids@opendormedia.org.
And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and share.
Thanks so much to everyone who helped to make our podcast. Our hosts, whose real names are
Maya, Nina, and Dean.
Our roving reporter, Sam.
Played in this episode by Esther.
Our activity director, Fox.
Played by Fox.
Our interview guest,
Adam Kellerman.
This week's Kesher Kids,
Lexi, Emma, Eliza, Poppy, that's me, Eitan, and Orr.
And our house band,
The Matza Boys.
Our show was produced and directed by Gemma Last and written by Gemma Last, Joe Hennis, and Fran Greenman-Schmitz. Our executive producer is Fran Greenman-Schmitz. Ben Kelly at Soho Sonic is our audio engineer and sound designer.
Credits read by John, Last, and Poppy. That's me.
Created for OpenDor Media with support from the Jim Joseph Foundation, Maimonides Fund, and Natan Fund.
Tune in next time to our amazing podcast.